All right, let's have a look at the amplification and effects end of things. This is not entirely suitable for club gigs. This is what we put together in 2012, just before the Lady Gaga tour. We tried to put a lot in there, so it was pretty much future-proof. So we wouldn't have to change too much further down the line when we wanted different bits and pieces, different sounds going on. So this is where we'll start with the head end of things. Marshall Plexi, 1959 SLP, very, very famous amplifier. Originally produced in the 1960s. Everybody from Cream to Jimi Hendrix to AC/DC have used these heads. It's a very, very famous rock guitar sound you get out of these. Non-master volume, so you have to be very careful on how you balance the two channels up together to get the tone you're looking for. And although it's only 100 watts, it's very, very loud as well. Got an awful lot of cut on it. This has been the main head that he's used probably ever since the start of the band. Marshall has always been a Marshall man, and Marshall will always be the backbone of his sound. And this is the main component of what you hear when he's playing is this amplifier. What we like to do is drop in different combinations of heads and effects and things on top of this to get different colours and different sounds and all that kind of thing. And the main other head we use is this. This is a Wizard Modern Classic. Wizard, interesting company, who make great products. Handmade in Canada. The chap that owns the company is a chap called Rick St. Pierre, who is also Angus Young's guitar tech. These heads are his design, and they're kind of like an updated, higher gain version of a Plexi of this. The reason we went with this and not another Marshall is because, well, back in the day, up till 2006, when the band had their hiatus, Justin was using Mesa Boogie, Dan was using Marshall. So Justin's sound was very modern, very high gain, so there was definite separation between the two sounds. When the band got back together, started recording, started rehearsing, Justin had started using a pair of these. So it meant that there wasn't as much separation in the guitar sounds as before. So when we were looking for other heads to use to bring in different colours, different nuances into the sound, we went for this because it's very, very Marshallian, but it's got its own twist on it. It's kind of, well, as I say, kind of like a modern master volume version of this. And it just meant that we got a little bit of separation between the stage right and the stage left guitars. Works very well, very, very versatile. Down here, 50 watt Marshall 1987. This was an amp that Dan was using in rehearsal quite a lot. Then when we went back up to the higher power 100 watt heads, he really missed it, really liked it. So we planned to add a third channel using this head, and as I say, combinations of effects, which we'll get to in a moment. But these are the three heads that we use. This one's on all the time. You're going to be hearing this one blasting you all the time whenever he's playing, and either this one or this one with different combinations of effects will be dropped in and out as needed. And speaking of the effects, we'll go over here and have a closer look at them. Okay, firstly, ignore these, by the way. Sennheiser wireless receivers. Dan hasn't gone on a wireless since 2000 and probably 2006, and I don't think we'll ever see him on a wireless ever again. So these are actually dead. You could get rid of those and never have to think about them ever again. But then we'd have a big hole there and it'd look horrible. Anyway, the first load of effects we have in the top drawer as a Roger Mayer Axis Fuzz, Boss Turbo Distortion, Marshall Drive Master, the trusty old Ibanez Tube Screamer, El Capistan Strymon tape echo delay. Next one down. Ooh, crikey. At the back there's a Digitech Whammy, Electro Harmonics Memory Man, the Devi Ever Shoegazer. That's a terrifying piece of kit. Carbon copy analog delay. Further down, there's a second Digitech Whammy. Devi Ever Godzilla, only slightly less terrifying than the Shoegazer. Strymon Orbit delay. Earthquaker Devices Rainbow Machine. A second Tube Screamer, set slightly cleaner than the first one. And a second carbon copy. What we do is SPX90, Yamaha SPX90. Anybody from the 1980s will remember that one. An Alesis Midiverb. 2 bits of low res kit for you there. What's quite unusual about this is the signal routing, in as much as, and I'm going to have to refer to my notes here. Everything at the top end, the Axis, the Drive Master, the first Tube Screamer, the El Capistan and the Shoegazer, they all feed into the 3 heads. Then all 3 heads feed 3 separate cabinets. After that there's a split where the first Whammy, the Memory Man and the first carbon copy are only on these 2 channels, only on the Marshall Plexi and the Wizard. And all the rest of the stuff down here, the Whammy 2, the second Tube Screamer, the Godzilla, the Orbit Flanger, SPX90, the Midiverb, the Rainbow Machine, they are only feeding this head. So we've got a certain number of effects on all 3 channels, a certain number of effects only on these 2 channels, and then the rest of it is only on this one. This is what we used to call our special effects channel. That's where we got all the wacky noises from. There's a couple of reverse reverbs and things coming out of here which are only on that channel. So basically, yeah, we could get 3 different sounds coming out of 3 different heads, feeding 3 different cabinets on stage, which was a pretty versatile way of doing things. Occasionally got a little bit out of hand. If you've seen the band live around about 2012, there was a song called Concrete, which had a very noisy crescendo in the middle of it. You'd have found that most of this and nearly all of that was all on at the same time. Wizard and Plexi are power braked to try and keep the volume down a little bit, so we can really crank them up here and get the heads working, but keep the actual stage volume down. All controlled by these things, ground control foot switches. With these, it's a very clever device. Each one of these pedals is on its own separate effects loop, and you can program in combinations of these effects loops using the foot switches. So say, for instance, you could, what's the easiest way to explain this? You could create a preset. Say let's create a preset there, and then you can go into edit mode and go through the menus and select whichever combination of pedals and heads you like. Save that. Every time you press that button, it'll recall whatever you've programmed into it. A lot easier than tap dancing, and a lot tidier too. So we have 2 of these. This is my one. This stays off stage with me. And over here, this is the one which is on stage with us down. All programmed identically, but I can override him, but he can't override me, which is nice. It just means that if he's somewhere on the stage, miles away from the foot switch, I can kick in his sounds for him. Or if he's made a mistake, can correct him. That doesn't happen very often. So yeah, that means that we've got two areas of control over this whole thing, which is pretty versatile. Now, in case you're wondering about this is an expression pedal. This means that we can control the whammies remotely from on stage. Can program that into any of the presets, and then you don't actually have to touch it itself. MIDI controlled, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. So that's pretty much what we have. It's some people might consider it excessive. I don't think it's quite pleasing. It took a while. It took about a week to build, and a couple of days testing, tweaking things before we got things exactly right. And it's been around the world with us twice. Never broken down. Been very, very reliable. Touch wood. And look forward to getting it out again, hopefully in the summer.